Hello. Now we are going to talk about how to iterate the callables. So we can easily create the iterators that are based on the callable in general. So let's look at the example. Now this is the first example that we are talking about. So in this example, what we are going to do is we are going to create the counter functions. So this is the counter function we are creating, right? And which return the value. We are using this counter function using the closures, right? So let's define the counter functions. Now this counter function allows to create a simple counter. So like here, what we can do is so here we have created the counter objects. Like so again, like if we when we call this counter function, this will return this increment function over here. Now we can call this increment function as a function, right? We can call this and then we can get the value. Again, if you want to know about this closer, we have already discussed about this in the earlier classes. Now, technically, we can make the iterable because this is the value we are iterating over and over. We can make the iterable to iterate it over the counter. So here we are creating a class counter iterator, right? Which takes the counter callable. So this is the counter call, like this will take the counter callable. So this will take this counter callable, right? Now we have this iter method and then we have this next method. In the next method, it will return the counter callable itself. So this is the counter iterator we have, right? Now, remember we have this infinite callables because we are not controlling it. When we are creating we have created the object of the callables. We are passing this callable to the counter iterator, and now we're taking this into a loop for 5 times. We're getting this value. So basically, we were able to create the iterator from any callable functions. But one issue is that we have this infinite iterables. So one way to solve this issue is to stop the value when the iterator should reach to some value. So here we are we are re-implementing this counter iterator, but this time we have this sentinel value. That means this is a stop iteration value. So every time it will ask you the callable and the sentinel value. Then in the next method, so when we get the callables, first we are getting the callables. First we are calling this callable value. We are storing it in a result, and then we are checking that if the result met that sentinel value, it will stop the iteration, and otherwise it will return the result, right? So this is like matching criteria. We run this. Now let's call this. So here we are calling the counter. So this is the callable we have created. Now we are passing this callable and then as a sentinel value, we are passing the 5. That means if we reach to 5, it will break the loop. It will do the stop iterations. And let's print it. So we have printed 1, 2, 3, 4. But when it reached to the 5, actually it is calculating the 5. It is getting the 5 value, but it is not printing. Here we are not getting the result. So when the result met our sentinel value in these conditions, it will raise the stop iterations. So we are not getting the value, but this will make sure that we have this 5 value in the counter object, right? So now there is a technical issue here is the first problem is this counter iterator. This counter iterator is still there. That means when you again call the next of the counter iterator, this will give you the value, right? We have not properly destroyed it. So one way to fix this is now we are using another attribute over here. We are saying that is consumed is false. Now when the next method is called, first we are checking that whether this is consumed value is true or not. If it is not true, then this will go to the else. If it is true, this will do the stop iteration. But if it goes to the else, again it will get the result. But if the result matches the sentinel, this will first we are setting this as a consumed value to a true, so that in the next iteration, this will not even call it. This will be stopped, right? And then we are doing the stop iteration over here. Else will return the result, right? So here, when we do the counter, now this time when we run the loop, here we have stopped it, right? Here we have stopped it. because the result is equal to the sentinel, and we have also set the consumed is true, and then we have done the stop iterations. But when we call the next iteration, so this next value, next function when we called, this will check that whether this consumed value is true or not. We have done the true, and it will do the stop iteration. When we call this, this will give you the error of stop iterations, right? So as we can see that, this is how we can fix the error, right? Now, in fact, the iter function has the two form. Let's see that when we check the help of iter, the first form is iter function ask for the iterable object, but the second form is iter function ask the callable object and then the sentinel value. It's the same thing that we have been doing so far, right? So we can see that. So again, this is very much similar to the iter function as well. So instead of using this counter iterator, now we are using the iter function over here. So we have created the counter. Now we are using the Python built-in iter functions. We are passing the callable, we are passing the sentinel value. Now let's try to do this. Again, we are able to achieve the same result over here. We can even do the next of iter. This will do the stop iterations, right? So again, so it's like this implementation. This implementation is similar to what the iter function has implemented, right? Now let's check the second example. Now, for example, let's say that if you want to iterate through the random number until a specific random number is generated. If you want to do that, we can use this iter functions to do that. Let's import the random module. Here now we can do this loop to iterate the random number between 0 and 10 for 10 times. This is the loop we are doing. Now what we want to do is we want to check that here in this code, we want to check that. So in the iter method, in the iter function, we have passed the lambda function. So this lambda function is nothing but the iterable object, right? So it is like iterating the value between 0 and 10, right? So every time it will call this function and it will print the value between 0 and 10, right? So it's the same function, but this is now we are implementing this random integer. So iter function every time will call this function, right? And this function will return you the value between 0 and 10, right? And now this 8 is the sentinel value. That means if the 8 value is present, or if we reach to the 8 number, right? So the value will be stopped. So this entire loop will be stopped. So let's create the iterator using the iter functions, right? Now here we are setting the seed value as 0 to achieve the similar result, right? Now when we do when we loop the iterator, what this will happen? This will check whether this value is present, 8 value is present or not. Otherwise, it will break. If it is present, it will break. Let's run this. You can get this. So now 6604, and this time, and like next time, we have achieved the number as 8, right? So when we print this number, we are getting 4. So the last value we are getting, right? But again, it's like we have reached the 8 value. We have so here this loop, this random int has reached the 8 value, and then we have broke it, right? So this is it. This is it how we can iterate the callable object, right? Thank you very much.